We all have that woolly jumper we turn to when it gets colder, but we don't all have the skills or knowledge to mend them when they start to age. So I thought I'd share some easy tips for mending your knitwear. I wanted to show you that no matter how tattered, old or destroyed your knitwear is, there is always a way to mend it. So I asked around and got my hands on a very tattered jumper. I think most people would think that this is for the bin, but I wanted to show you that with only a few different techniques and tools, it can be easily mended. The biggest worry with knitwear is that we will get a hole and that it will ladder. As you can see, this jumper has many holes and many ladders. This may look like a daunting task, but let's break it down into manageable parts. Mending ladders. You will need a latch tool. This is my favourite thing to do when it comes to mending. It's so easy and really tidies everything up quickly. From the hole, follow the ladder down to where you will find your first full knit stitch. This is a 1x1 rib, which means between each knit stitch there is a purl stitch, basically a back to front knit stitch. So in this case, I'll turn the sleeve inside out and start mending the ladder. Slip the hook of the latch tool into the loop of the knit stitch. Then take your latch tool under the first thread or step of the ladder. As you do this, notice how the latch tool opens to pick up the yarn and then closes to pull the yarn through to create a loop. We then repeat this process until there are no more threads to pick up. I like to sew in a holding thread to stop it laddering again, and I use a standout colour so I don't get confused. I then turn the sleeve the right way round and the column of purl stitches, the back to front knit stitch, is repaired, leaving only a small hole to mend. Now we just repeat this process for all the ladders we can find. Again, it's the purl stitch here that's laddered, so I'll turn the sleeve inside out to mend on the reverse. This is why I love this technique. You wouldn't even know there had been a ladder there. Now you can see I've noticed a pulled knit stitch here, and this is also frustrating, but it is easy to fix, especially with a chunky knit like this. Basically, you want to distribute this pulled piece back into the surrounding knit stitches. I find stretching the fabric out often really helps to pull everything back into place. Now we just repeat this process for all the ladders and pulled stitches that we can find, tidying everything up before we mend the holes. I'll alter between a larger and smaller latch tool depending on which area I'm going to be mending. This is just to better match the tension at which the jumper was knitted at. If you have never used a latch tool before and are thinking, hold up, this looks easy, that's because it is. I think most people could give this a go with no knowledge of knitting or mending, and the results are amazing. You really would never have known that there had been a ladder here. With all the ladders mended and all the pull stitches distributed back into the jumper, I really feel like this looks like a much more manageable mend. Yes, there's holes, but it is less daunting. And when it comes to holes, there are many ways to mend holes. I'm going to show you a technique using the latch tool that I believe is the easiest way to mend knitwear. I'm also going to do a series of shorts showing other methods for mending. So for this mend, we are going to create a false ladder, taking our needle and yarn through the available knit stitches of the first row of the hole. Repeat this until there is a false ladder for every row of the hole, leaving plenty of yarn at each side and giving the false ladders a lot of slack to pick up later when we will be latching. And then we do the exact same thing as when we were mending the ladders, latching the knit stitch of the original jumper to the false ladders we've just created. I'm tying off the knit stitch of the false ladder with the jumper so I can show you later how to finish off this mend. For right now, let's focus on this method and really understanding what it is that we are doing. The extra yarn you left at each side gets pulled tight while we latch, and the tails will be darned in later. That's all the knit stitches latched up. Now we need to latch up the purl stitches, so like we did before, we will turn the sleeve inside out and latch them up too. Again, repeat this for all the large holes that you can find. I've used different yarns to show you which each of them looks like once the jumper is mended. Now when it comes to finishing this mend off, we are going to use a technique called duplicate stitch. This is where you follow the path of the original knit stitch. Because this is a 1x1 rib, the path of the knit stitches are a little different. We follow the knit stitch, then we follow the purl stitch. In our case, because we are connecting the mend to the jumper, instead of following a top and original knit stitch path, we're going to create a row using the same idea. I've taken out the tie-offs and put in a holding stitch here with the pink yarn, just to tidy this up so you can better see what I'm doing. The first stitch is a purl stitch, so we take our needle through the knit stitch from front to back. We then take our needle over the top of the above knit stitch, and then through the original stitch from back to front. The second stitch is a knit stitch, so we come through the knit stitch from the back to the front, then take our needle under the above knit stitch, and then through the original knit stitch from the front to the back. I find it extremely useful to have a diagram to follow when I'm doing this, as you can easily get confused between the purl stitch and the knit stitch. After a little practice, this becomes a lot easier. Then we darn in the ends and repeat the process for the other holes. And the end result? A jumper that was destined for the bin is given a new lease of life. I really hope this has been helpful and inspired you to give it a go for yourself. Over the next few days, I'll be releasing a series of shorts showing you other methods for mending holes and more tips on how to keep your knitwear looking good. So please subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments if you're going to give this a go for yourself. I would absolutely love to see your mends, so if you do give it a go for yourself, then please send me some pictures over on Instagram. Until next time, go mend something.